for some viewers here. Yes. Oh, here we go. Well, thank you very much for joining us here at Tyrant Slayer Studios. We have a very special guest this evening. Oh, hold on. I got some feedback in my audio. There we go. So this is the Andrew Pritchard. This is the man who owns the house in Norwalk, Connecticut. This is the victim of EMAP fraud, wire fraud, Capias mortgage fraud. He's in a very, very serious situation. He's got a land patent on his property. His privately owned property is federally protected. And despite the powers that we, the citizens, have, our civil and constitutional rights, this man has been on the verge of losing it all. In what appears to be irrefutable fraud. On multiple levels. The judicial system has been weaponized. That's the theme we're running with here, and with just cause. So without further ado, to give you guys an update, there's been over 150,000 views on the videos published about this in the last 2 weeks. And people are very, very interested. The comment section is very active. So we're here to provide you guys the updates and information you're asking for. You guys want context. You want a better understanding of what's going on. So here he is, the man to tell you better than I could, Mr. Andrew Pritchard.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. I'm not somebody that's a real podcast person or really like to get in front of the camera. So I'm going to try to quickly go through some stuff just to give you an idea as to my case. And what it's pretty simple. Just so everyone knows, if you look up stuff on me, a lot of times you will find a lot of stuff that I worked on Wall Street. I was a partner at Cantor Fitzgerald when 9/11 occurred, and was a partner there for some time. However, I also, just so you know, am a guy that owns everything outright. That's always been my way of doing things and keeping things simple. I'm not a flash guy. Picture you see on the screen here is the house that I live in now, that I bought on Valentine's Day, February '95. And that was, I had a small construction company with some buddies of mine that I used to bang nails with when I was younger. We put together a small construction company, and we rebuilt the house. And after, well, 2 rebuilds, this is what the house ended up being. Okay. And if you continue on down there, you'll see some more of what the house looked like before and after. That's out back on the water of the harbor of Norwalk. Going down, that's what it looked like when I bought it. And keep going on down. You get a sense of the sunroom out towards the water. And that's the 75-foot pier and dock. The reason I bought this house, and I was the first one to have a dock out here, was I saw it coming in on a boat. I realized everybody on that side of the shore had got a sunset every night, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable." And the house had been on the market for almost a year and a half, and I bought it for $375,000. I put in about, I'd say over the years, about $750,000. And since then, the market has obviously gone to the moon. What you see here, and what I'm showing you there, is the value that City Mortgage Inc. put on the house in 2019. That's their estimated market value of $3.4 million by their foreclosure unit. And I'm just giving you these numbers so you get a sense of stuff. Now, I owned the house completely outright. And what happened is, over the years, people kept getting on me about, listen, you got to get some credit. You got to get some sort of credit. You have no debt. You got no credit rating, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, fine. I'll take out a 15-year mortgage on $700,000. And so I took out a 15-year mortgage that matured in July 2018. So my note's already matured. Okay. Basically, I got down to where there was roughly $200,000 worth of principal left, and it was paying off real quick. And I said, you know what? I'll just pay the whole thing off. I called up in September 2014. I said, I want to know who owns the note, because I'm pretty sophisticated with finance and how all these things work. And as a matter of fact, I was involved with some of the people that created mortgage-backed securities, and I knew about some of the holes in the system and everything else. And I also know banking rules and regulations inside and out. For example, all debt has to be recognized by a bank, all debt in default within 90 days. Okay, has to be recognized on the book. So you can't put it in a drawer and hide it and come back and bite you in the ass later. Same sort of thing is true with these mortgage-backed securities. When they go into a real estate investment trust, there's a law called Internal Revenue Service Code 860. I think the one that deals particularly with real estate investment trusts, or where most of your securitization goes, is 860D. In those particular cases, when something goes into default, the REIT has to recognize the default within 90 days. Otherwise, they get penalized they get hit with a tax hit that's so hard that it will wipe out the REIT in total. So they recognize that debt immediately and they write it off. What's significant about that for everybody? When they write it off, they extinguish it. It's no more. What do I mean? Well, see, they take that value of that loss and they put it up against a gain. So it has value. And so they don't pay as much in taxes, and the thing is extinguished, and it's stamped and done. It's no more. But what's been going on with all this stuff, just so everybody knows, is they pull all these dead soldiers off the pile, and these debt collectors go running around, and the banks assist them with stuff because it's just gravy. It's double dipping. It's illegal. So anyway, I knew that my particular note, being a 15-year mortgage with only about 3 years left on it, on a waterfront property that was worth about $3.5 million plus, you would consider that in Fairfield County, Connecticut, AAA plus paper. So I'm like, I know these sneaky bastards. They probably have sold my note 1 million times to underwrite all kinds of stuff. Well, I'm not going to have this thing floating around out there. So I asked, when I came in to pay things off, I said, I want to know who owns my note. We can't tell you. What do you mean you can't tell me? We don't know. What do you mean you don't know? So I continued paying. I kept chasing them down, saying, I need to know who owns my note. The next thing that starts happening is they start taking out 2 automatic payments out of my checking account. So in other words, every month, instead of $10,000 going out, paying down principal and taxes and escrow, they're taking out $20,000. And they did this for 3 or 4 months. They did it October, November, and December. Now that's not fun around the holidays and everything else, and you're moving around a lot of stuff. And actually, they even caused a situation where in Thanksgiving I was bouncing checks. And I said, what are you guys doing? So they continued with this through April of 2015. In April of 2015, specifically, I made my last mortgage payment to them on April 19th, 2015. I said, you guys got to tell me who owns it. As of May 4th, less than 30 days, they started a foreclosure on me. I go, are you guys nuts? What are you doing? And so then the whole thing started going. Now, what was most interesting is when I hit the courts in Connecticut, I thought, okay, this will be over in 2 seconds. We'll show everything, blah, blah, blah.
You would think.
In 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, this is done because my note has been paid for. As a matter of fact, in doing my research, I found that my note had been sold 4 times. So that's mortgage fraud. I'm thinking I'm going to walk into court and I'm going to sit there and you can see these are all confirmed. Okay. I'm just going to say, hey, Judge, we got City Mortgage Inc. again. Okay. Then, so I'm like, oh, they're gonna lock them up. We're gonna get criminal charges with prejudice. Leave it right there. That no, go up right there. Leave that there. That's important because I want people to understand something. So anyway, nothing happened with that. I go, what's going on? Then I started thinking to myself, maybe they don't understand. Maybe they think I'm underwater because, there's 200,000 on a $3.5 million house. And I used to have problems even when I call into City Mortgage. They'd be like, Mr. Pritchard, you owe a great deal to the bank. It shows here that you're a 98%. I said, that's 98% principal, guy. 98% principal. Oh, well, I've never seen a mortgage like that. I've never seen this before. Nobody owns a whole house like this. I go, well, I'm a dull, dud, dopey, own everything outright guy. Sorry. Anyway, so I thought, okay, the judges are doing this too. They're making this mistake just because they rubber stamp this stuff so quick. That's where I was in the beginning. Then all of a sudden, I go, this thing's been paid in full multiple times. I want full accounting. And by OCC requirements, that's the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which is the banking entity. Those guys have all the rules and regs, and there is even rules and regulations as to what full accounting is. It's both the debits and the credits on your account. So in other words, my account, because the bank's the trustee, when they sell my note, that's actually my money. And I want to see the money I made because I'm pretty sure that the Andy Pritchard mortgage that got sold all over the world, backing every AAA derivative there ever was, especially out of a crooked place like Citibank. I said, I've probably got millions in that account. Of course, they never give me anything. They didn't give me a damn thing. Anyway, I'm like, okay, well, this is not a problem. I win no matter what because it's multiple times. This is the United States of America. Courts are honest. Here we go. So this page you're looking at here, this is a page from what they claim to be the original note. Now, just to show you how fraudulent everything else is with these guys, they offered two different notes, original notes. So in the Superior Court, they showed one, and then in the Appellate Court, they showed one that was different. Nonetheless, both were stamped, pay to the order without recourse to City Mortgage Inc. Now, City Mortgage Inc. is the plaintiff on the case. They can't be the plaintiff on the case. It's impossible. See, that's without recourse to City Mortgage Inc. So in other words, just to let you know, this is like a canceled check, if you will. Okay. So, like I can't reuse a canceled check from the bank, right? This is like City Mortgage Inc. When it's stamped like that, to flip it around so people understand, anyone else in the entire world can bring a suit against me except City Mortgage Inc. Okay. So I sit there and I go in there with, the Connecticut General Statutes and all this stuff and say, okay, here you go, Your Honor. And they completely blow that off. I go, what is going on? So then I started observing what they did to people. And I go, oh my God, this is racketeering in here.
Unfortunately, I don't think I can rotate this right now.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. This is, so on this next thing, and I'm just giving you some points as to my case, and we'll go through this quickly. This is the damages on my case. If you go to the top, if you go down, sorry. I want you to just keep going. You'll see, stop. You'll see I started, it's $7,369,000 when I filed my counterclaim. $3.5 million for the house, $769,000 for the breach of contract. That's everything that I paid in terms of to the bank itself. $1 million defamation, $1 million reduced future value, and I did $1 million for my neighbors, and then $100,000 legal fees. Now, if you
Yeah.
go further along now, so you know, keep going, because I want everyone to understand this took a long time to get here. But all these things are different dates and things that happen. We are now, keep going a little bit more because people are going to be blown away with this number. Stop there. I'm now up to $75,619,000. I have $3.5 million for foreclosure because of City Mortgage Inc. I also have a mortgage by Senlar. I have the same 769,000. I'm arresting 17 judges for all their corrupt actions and suing them each for $2 million. I have 16 million for the suit and some other stuff in there. It's all
That's
justifiable.
incredible.
Well, the $3.4 million is $100,000 for all my neighbors because of the devaluation or is it 200,000? Because it devalues all their homes, all this stuff that's been going on. You know, when you have people stopping in front. If you could go down a little bit more here, I want to read something that's nice. Go down a little bit more, right there where it says the Supreme Court. I think this is one of my favorite lines. The Supreme Court has warned, because of what appear to be lawful commands on the surface, many citizens, because of the respect for what appears to be the law, are cunningly coerced into waiving their rights due to ignorance.
That is extremely powerful.
And then this next one that I love is the Supreme Court is ruled and has affirmed the principle that justice must satisfy the appearance of justice. Levine versus the United States. And there's another one here that anyone that's going through foreclosure, wait, stop right there, go down a little. It's very important. It just got ruled by the Supreme Court on June 30th. Only concrete injury gives standing. Supreme Court, TransUnion versus Ramirez, 20-2097. That's a very significant thing because all these guys, they do not have concrete harm, all these little sleazy debt collector types and everything else. Why don't you go on down? I want to show you this order in my case. This order in my case, just so everyone knows, is an open order to vacate. There's to be a hearing because of the recusal of the senior judge, Judge Gennario, who recused himself from my case, and a year later was even placing orders in my case.
Can you briefly describe why he was recused from your case for those?
He recused himself because of judicial bias. He threatened me with financial harm and also financial harm from all of the other judges within his court. That's what he said. And it's on transcript, and you can see it. His order that he gave was to his best friend that he grew up with from the age of 10 years of old. His name is Judge Kavanewski. He's famous because he did the Skakel case. And also, I think he was the first person to use a child on videotape with family services stuff. And I also think he, I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, he got a gentleman named, now listen carefully, Monsignor Gennario off all kinds of pedophilia stuff, who later was found guilty of like ridiculous amounts. But guess when? Right after he died. And guess what? His nephew, Gennario's nephew, became a judge. The Judge Gennario.
Oh my God. No nepotism there.
No, sir. Okay, right here, stop here. Just so everyone knows, in terms of mortgage foreclosure, there's a law that came out requiring, it's called the Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. It's a federal program that every state has to abide by. In the state of Connecticut, the law is CGS 8-265EE. As a matter of fact, I think it's very hard to find and they try to hide it. Anyways, that's affectionately known, because people love acronyms, is known as EMAP. EMAP is you have to be notified ahead of the foreclosure by mailing of options to this emergency mortgage assistance program. Okay, and that has to be done and proven. The mailing has to be proved by the plaintiff before being able to execute the foreclosure. In my case here, they claim to have they did a fraudulent EMAP to prove it. The the attorneys. And this document here is taking their batch mailing that they offered up in their evidence. And I went to my friends at the U.S. Postal Service. And if you go on down a little further, you'll see stuff here. You'll see that it is signed and stamped as to Laura Lee Connor, lead sales service associate at the Norwalk Main Post Office. She looked everything up, all tracking numbers, even the archive history, everything else, and even gave me pictures of screens, which are only supposed to be in-house. But she also gave me those to prove things. She just said,
very
no.
helpful. What an
Yes.
outstanding job by
Here's
that young
what's
lady.
really great. Judge Modalise. So this is coming from an expert in their professional capabilities and so forth and so on. Proof that there was no mailing. Judge Modalise says this is hearsay.
Was Laura Lee available as a witness for deposition or testimony or cross-examination?
Oh, she could have been made available, but that didn't matter.
Is that why? Is that why it's hearsay? Because she wasn't made of, or because
no,
she wasn't a witness?
no. It's hearsay. This is not hearsay. This is
right. I know it's not, but the judge is the game. The judge.
No, he didn't give any reason. He didn't give any reason. He just said it was hearsay.
Yeah, that's astonishing.
And then he also said it was a collateral attack. Okay, now this has to do with my affidavit of debt.
Okay.
On the affidavit of debt, they always have to have it notarized, so forth and so on. Well, this is City Mortgage Inc. and Citibank. So I sat there and I said, listen, they don't do anything legally, okay? They're in so much trouble that they got to shut down their entire mortgage enterprise. And as a matter of fact, they highlighted the period my mortgage was written, okay? So I said, all right, these guys are so bad. I'm going to chase down the notary who's notarized this affidavit of debt. So I wrote a letter. I found out notary Patsy Judd. I asked and requested all the records to see if she was valid and so forth and so on. I was stunned. I wrote the Secretary of State for Arizona because it was an Arizona notary. And it took me 2.5 years, but 3 years. The Secretary of State handed it to the Attorney General of the state of Arizona. They did a full investigation and they came back and guess what? No good. She's no good, invalid, nothing, no, out. So every affidavit of debt in my case is null and void. But we don't care about that. We don't care about that. That doesn't. So what we're finding, what you keep seeing as we go on down, keep going. So this is the letter from them saying that Patsy Judd is a crooked notary and no good. Keep on going down.
Well, I just want to give the readers a chance. I want to make sure they can pause the video and read through this stuff, because there are some highly interested people.
Notary did not record requisite information. The last page is the one where the meat and potatoes are.
Okay. Is that this one here?
Yeah, they state, didn't do the duties of ARS 41319, 41311. Now, what's interesting is they can't bring charges against her because it's out of state.
Doesn't this warrant extradition?
I don't know.
This is like a serious enough crime to extradite that individual.
All I know is that I'm happy as can be, right? Because I'm like, okay, now even the affidavit of debt, there's no way they can say no now.
That's very true, right?
And it's the Secretary of State and the Attorney General, for crying out loud.
Right, you see it right there.
Nope, don't care. Don't care.
That's insane.
Now get this. This is hilarious. This is God at work, by the way. So we had a lot of rain in July 21. I had this massive tree that was near my house.
In fact, you mentioned that in May when they come out to try and evict you the first time, and the police actually, stood down.
Yes, I talk about this because even the sale itself was not legal. Okay, because there's certain things. They're called the standing orders of foreclosure standing orders. They're in Connecticut, they're JDCV 79 and JDCV 181. Okay. One of those standing orders is this auction's supposed to go off in September. If you have serious damage to the home or something, you can't go forward with the sale. I'm like, hello. So this
Perfect.
truck falls on my house and does damage to my house. It gets even better than that. They have not yet released my insurance money to me.
Oh,
so
wow.
I have an open from July of 21.
It's an open claim.
I have an open claim, and they have $35,000 of my money.
That's crazy.
That they have not released, which, by the way, I've contacted the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, and I said they've stolen my money. They have to release it. And
let's put some light on this guy. I don't want to cut you off, but we've
anyway,
got to try to keep it moving.
This is May 31st, the day of them coming to evict. This gentleman here is
do you remember his name?
State Marshal Alan Freeman.
Alan Freeman was pulled over in 2012.
Wait, you'll go down. You'll see this. We'll see.
While on duty. Oh, you have the article here?
Yeah, right here. So go down a little more. Stop right there. Well, go see his belly.
It is.
No, go back up. Go back up. Go back up a little. Stop. Well, go. You got to see his belly. So you got to see his belly.
Yeah. He seems to be carrying a weapon right there.
He's carrying a weapon.
Right.
He's got a gun. Okay. No marshal is allowed to come on your property with a gun. Okay. They are known as peace officers. They're not to have a weapon. It's actually a felony. Okay?
He's a state. Is he a state marshal or a state judicial marshal? Is he a judicial marshal?
No, he's a state marshal. And these guys are nothing more than mailmen. Okay. They're clowns. No offense to all the state marshals out there, but you know you are, and you know what you do. Okay. That's why they show up in like rickety
plain clothes, sweatpants, and a sweatshirt with an old 35-year-old ball cap.
Yeah, but let's see. Let's show. If you look up almost any state marshal so far that I've looked up, you'll find out that they have something on one of these state marshals. In this case, he was busted for drug possession. 137 ounces of marijuana in his car. Keep going down.
Yeah. Additionally, he had digital scales. He had obviously the intent to sell.
Right. It says it right here. Keep going.
Friedman, 58 of 2 Schlien Road, was stopped Tuesday after running a red light in Connecticut. On Connecticut Avenue near the Post Road Diner. Friedman identified himself as a state marshal to the arresting officer and presented his badge as proof. Friedman was initially given a verbal warning for running the red light. However, that all changed when a backup officer arrived on the scene. Sergeant Fred Rita, who is in charge of the Norwalk Police Department's K-9 unit, had the German Shepherd Cesar in his vehicle. Rita brought Cesar out for a routine check, and the K-9 was sniffing around the trunk. When asked if he had anything in the trunk, Friedman responded, yeah, weed.
And then this is what he had. He had trunk revealed that Freeman allegedly had 2 bags of marijuana. 137 ounces is a lot of weed.
At that time in 2012, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in 2012, anything over 4 ounces is a felony. Yes. 1 ounce is 28 grams. He has well over 4 ounces here.
Yes. 3 digital scales, 1 bag of marijuana seeds. The officers measured the amount of marijuana. It came out to 137.9 ounces. I think actually, by the way, they shouldn't say 100 just because I'm a math major. 137.9 is 138. Okay.
I hope Mr. Friedman is enjoying this if he is in fact watching.
Yeah, well, he's broken the law, and now we go down. This is the day of my eviction, where there's some police officers, they don't know what to do. They're not quite sure. The lead guy there.
Hey, folks, if you haven't seen the videos yet, there is a short Norwalk, Connecticut police compelled to stand down. And then the long version, it's about 45 minutes long. We'll give you a complete kind of context of the situation. And Mr. Pritchard has been kind enough to join us here this evening to go ahead and try to answer some questions and provide you guys further information so that the understanding of what's going on exactly is better and more clear here. So let's see.
Now, I just would like to just share the most recent stuff. So you know, I helped out another family that's their name is the Ocampos. Their case number, just in case anyone's curious, is FST for Stanford, CV 14-602-1995. They're an Hispanic family. They've had their home seized and stolen from them. Nothing in the case is valid. As a matter of fact, they made up all the debt numbers and everything else. This poor Hispanic family actually was living in Darien, Connecticut, and I even went to the Board of Education with them on Tuesday, and the Board of Education said, no, your kids cannot attend Darien High School, even though they're in litigation. You should also know their son graduated. One of their sons just graduated last year from Darien High School, a straight A student, and got a full scholarship to Iona. Their other two boys are also A students. One would be entering the 10th grade, one would be entering the 7th grade, and one of them has serious dimples. Anyway, they are very good people. They can barely speak English. You will have an opportunity to hear the actual hearing of August 15th, because I'm getting the audio transcript, because it is frightening what is said and what is done. The court, Judge Tierney was very upset that I was there helping them. I was not allowed to speak or do anything. And just so you know, that happened on Monday, August 15th. On August 17th, they started things back up, coming at me, talking about potential eviction. As a matter of fact, I had a state marshal named Kemp give me a call and threatening me and do some other things, making up lies and stories as to things that he had given to the Norwalk Police Department, which I called the Norwalk Police Department to confirm to be whether it was true or not, and they said no. These people, this is a deep, dirty operation. And if you really want to get into how it all works, it's truly amazing. And just so you also know, I am personally I am arresting without warrant.
Yeah, let's spend some time on this, because I have put my viewers onto this. I did make your efforts known.
Sure.
And a lot of people are anticipating this arrest of, I think the number's up to 17 judges. Can you give the audience an idea of how many judges, how many attorneys, any potential clerks, marshals, police officers, just officials involved in this big mess that has been manufactured through fraud? How many are actually named in your lawsuit and named in some sort of criminal activity?
Well, can I ask you this question, because we're banging up against a half an hour here, and I don't want to wear people out. I mean, would you like me to come back and talk about that, or?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good cliffhanger. Just briefly touch on it, and then we'll go through the comment section. We'll just answer some questions, and we'll cut it off at about the 37-minute mark. So we'll move pretty fast from here on out. Let's see.
Okay.
Just tell us about the 17 judges and what a Capias writ is, what constitutes the authority for this citizen's arrest, things like that. Just give the people an education here.
Okay. So let me start from how this all works. Okay. The way they have authority, the judicial has the authority, and so forth and so on, is it goes like this. And the reason we're even called the Constitution State is kind of interesting. Constitution State, the reason we're called the Constitution State is a gentleman named Reverend Hooker came down from Cambridge, Massachusetts, and set up shop around West Hartford. When he set up West Hartford, he put together a document called the Fundamental Orders of 1639. It was one of the first documents that enabled trade with the king, the sovereign. However, there was no sovereign on this side. So basically recognizing the people as a sovereign at the same level as the king, thus creating that document, which a lot of people say is one of the foundational pieces of our U.S. Constitution. The way it works is the power and authority comes from God to man, and then we as men, free men, delegate within certain parameters and authorities as to what different people can do. If they breach that, we can take that authority back if they, so forth and so on. Now, one of the big representatives that the people have always had is the sheriff. The sheriff is somebody that we used to vote on and actually was Section 25 of our Connecticut Constitution. Now, the sheriff has the power to arrest judges and the governor. Well, guess what? We had a crooked governor in the year 2000, and for some reason, that crooked governor, Rowland, got rid of the sheriffs. He eliminated the sheriffs. So all that authority went away. Some of the authority went to state marshals and some went to judicial marshals, but not all.
We should do a whole show on that. Just the
So
details and the inner workings.
So basically, that power got abdicated back to us, the people. So all of you here in the state of Connecticut, you're sheriffs. That's it. You have the same authority as a sheriff. So the situation is I have had felonies committed right before me, firsthand knowledge, just as if I had seen somebody rob somebody or beat somebody or something else, and I can make an arrest. I can even make an arrest with a weapon here in the state of Connecticut. It's Connecticut General Statute 54-170. So I have filed a Capias to arrest 17 judges, clerks, the attorney general of this state, multiple people for felonies involving, in most simple terms, racketeering and also not doing their administrative duty. Okay, that's judges' Achilles heel. They don't have absolute immunity. They have judicial immunity. The one part they have to take care of is the administrative. If they violated anything administrative, they're personally liable and can be charged. Everybody should know about a boring statute that I learned about from, what was the gentleman's name? I read some stuff. No, I saw a video from a gentleman named David Straight that's out there. And I jumped for joy when he introduced me to the Administrative Procedures Act of 1946. It's about 12 pages long, and it basically dictates like all kinds of things, like you don't have to be an attorney to represent somebody else in court. All kinds of things that are really nice little
Wow,
nuggets.
it sounds fascinating. Definitely something where you're going to have to take a look
and
at.
Also, you can hold it against all these people. So what I'm doing is I'm using that to arrest these people. At the same time, I'm demanding a trial by jury, which is my constitutional right and also my constitutional right here in the state of Connecticut, because I firmly believe that Andy Pritchard, up against all that legal might and muscle of 17 judges plus attorneys and everything else on the other side, I have a feeling that if I'm sitting there before my peers and I explain everything that's gone on, I think that justice will be served.
Well, let's hope so. Let's take it to that point, and we'll be behind you every step of the way. Let's look at some of these comments here under this video here. This is the incident from May 31st.
Yes.
How does the same corrupt judge keep getting to squash their hearings over and over again? Walter Spader.
There's one in particular, Judge Walter Spader Jr. And I love putting in the junior because I don't think he likes being known as junior. But anyway, Judge Walter Spader Jr., I believe, is sort of the youngest guy to the club, if you will. So I think they're right now, because the heat's on them, I think they're setting him up for the fall, if you will. So the heavyweights are kind of putting everything on him. One of the things that he's done, and he's done it across all cases, everybody's, is he's just been blindly ruling through remote hearings. Everyone should know that remote hearings here in Connecticut and anywhere, any state,
are unconstitutional.
Yeah, they don't have jurisdiction for those remote hearings. If you read the Administrative Procedures Act, you can have a remote hearing based on that if both parties agree to it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I objected to it, and for many reasons, the biggest being, you have no security. I mean, they go over like YouTube and something else with some of this stuff where you give away all your rights. Mm-hmm. And just to put it in perspective, YouTube can do anything they want with your stuff. In other words, if you say, like, if I just say no, 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 the next thing you know, they can take that snippet and put it in a porn movie if they want. And there's nothing I can do. So what are you kidding me?
Right.
Your jurisdiction is limited to the courthouse. That's it. Okay. You're not a king. So anyway, Judge
Here's a
Spader
good one.
ruled 130 times on my case.
Without you ever actually appearing before him.
Right.
Yeah, that's insane. This guy says, Top Cat, 8888. The dude who paid for the auction is totally screwed. He will never be paid back. He can't even sue, just like a tax lien auction sale. Speculators who use these auctions must pay in full upon acceptance of bid. They sign some, I'm not sure what this guy's trying to say here. Some believe that the government agency representing these auctions are perfect, even though they sign an agreement holding the auction no fault. In other words, they have zero recourse. This is kind of interesting.
Well, in my particular case, so everyone knows, it's a total straw man buyer thing. There's no one there. As a matter of fact, they have transferred title without any payment. See, what they didn't realize, everything that they've done is, my case is so unusual for them. They've never had someone with this kind of equity. So even when they did an extra low price that's stealing the property, okay, they sold it for like $1.2 million, right? And the house next door to mine, which is smaller, the very 5 days after the that sale, sold for $2.5 million. Transacted, closed at $2.5 million. So everyone knows, smaller house, smaller property. Anyway, they sold it for 1.2, but the debt's only 200,000. So you owe me $1 million. Where's my $1 million? You can't pass title until I've got $1 million. And as a matter of fact, the title hasn't passed because there are other things that need to be settled. As a matter of fact, I have a $9 million UCC lien on this property that has to be cured before any title can pass. Which
my colleague Joe Cool says judges are gods.
Yeah,
I don't think he thinks we're going to be able to bring the hammer of justice down upon them.
They're gods. They're not God.
Where do the buyers fit into all of this? Yeah, you just explained there's a straw man buyer, and he looks awful shifty.
Listen to this little one. So a gentleman named David Chen is supposedly the buyer. That guy, right? David Chen. Guess what? So the sale went down on May 31st. Guess who drives into my driveway on June 1st? A guy drives in and says, "Are you David Vacate?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, I'm State Farm. I'm here for the insurance survey." I go, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "You're the new owner, right? You're the guy that closed on the 27th, right?"
Oh, so he's using two different names?
No, we're not using different guy. And here's the thing. He closed on May 27th. So this guy, David Chen, has no right to do an eviction on May 31st. He has standing, everything else. So everything about this is fraudulent. This is a whole little game. They have you can't imagine. And by the way, the State Farm guy wrote everything out, gave me all his information and said, "Man, this is unbelievable." And I spent a lot of time at town hall saying, "Have you guys gotten a new buyer? Is a new deed passed?" Now, on top of that, so you know, one of the banks that's also foreclosing on me because there's multiple notes out there has paid my taxes because they say I own the house.
Oh my!
Yeah. So
here, let's listen to this exchange.
July 14th.
This is a good exchange. We'll close it out, and we're obviously going to have to bring you back because we got a lot to cover and unpack for the people. We're up to about the 45-minute mark.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. That's all right, man. This is a very severe situation. It's got to be nerve-wracking, man. I don't know how you look so great and how you're staying so positive. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I were you. So, I mean, I commend you for being so on top of the ball. I mean, you were like the guy from Suits, the best attorney any law firm could ever ask for, and you never even passed the bar. You're like a genius with this legal stuff. I think, here we go. We got Artie's corporate fiction. False. Sounds like a lien. This would be one of your critics. I'm glad he's here, actually. I want to show this. False? This is the guy that says that 54-170 only applies to, fugitives or people who have already been convicted or something. He's considered like a troll in our community. I have respect for him.
It's
He's been
fine.
nothing
No,
nothing
it's
but
fine. I appreciate everyone's view on these things, which is good because this is makes you go back and check things. All you have to do is read CGS 54170. It's about a paragraph long, and it tells you you have to have firsthand knowledge of the felony. And then you are to go to the court, okay, and you are to be taken immediately before a judge. Now, what's happening at Stanford Superior Court is the clerks are refusing to take me before a judge. Now, I also want to let you know that my Capias is valid, sir, because they already had one Capias hearing before a famous judge. His name's Judge Blowy on these criminal charges. Okay. Judge Blowy is the one that was in charge of the Remington Sandy Hook case. Okay. And Judge Blowy read me the Riot Act every which way and also demonstrated all his judicial bias because he said he knew all the judges. He also, when I gave testimony as to Governor Rowland, he also stated that he was appointed by Governor Rowland. I pointed out to Governor Rowland.
Let's answer this one for Artie here. On what basis did you file a $9 million lien on the property?
UCC lien. I have value of different things in terms of property. I'm trying to reverse.
Didn't we go over that earlier? Didn't we look at those numbers?
Oh, yeah, no. That's the damages section.
Yeah,
I have a
right.
UCC lien for improvements and everything else, and also because of the asset and what I can do with the asset in terms of leverage. I'm somebody who, in terms of right now, I can't do anything in terms of borrowing, any sort of financing up against my house. I have the ability to earn incredible amounts of money just through trading and arbitrage. And I have a history of that, and it even been written up in some pretty significant books as one of the top 50.
Here's a good one for you, Andy.
Sure.
Andy Pritchard is an awesome justice warrior. See, you got plenty of support out here. There are some folks
that's a good way to go out.
Yeah,
listen,
I think we could leave it at that.
This particular thing tonight sounded all about me. It's not about me. Okay, it's not. This is about my three boys, and literally it's about our freedom. This is seizure. Okay, this is a treasonous act. Even if you don't believe anything that I've said and you agree with the court that the $1.2 million sale was good, okay, they literally were taking me from my house over $200,000, and where's my $1 million? So I can live somewhere else.
Right, you've received no payment.
Nothing. No, this is seizure. They have no accounting of anything. And for anybody else too, all UCC liens, we're already saying, well, what's the justification on the UCC liens? Guess what? Before transferring title, okay, you're supposed to go into court and settle the UCC liens. I have to explain.
Artie, come on, brother. You should know this, aren't you?
Yeah, you have to justify, clean up all this stuff. But no, none of that was done. All liens, and that includes tax liens, everything. It's got to be squeaky clean. Perfection in terms of the chain of title.
I think Artie knows that.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, we are going to have Andrew back. Hey, when can we get you on again? The sooner, the better. People are following this pretty heavily, and we want to keep them up to date. Maybe this weekend sometime, if you're available, we could schedule something for the evening, same time, maybe.
Yes,
same channel.
I don't want to talk about my case. I would really like to talk about other things and big things in terms of this stuff and how it connects to all the courts, and to really show the racketeering and speak to that, because it's massive and it's happening in other states. I'm helping a gentleman in Delaware. I saved a farm. I'm proud of this one. Saved a farm in New Jersey.
I understand you have a connection with 9/11 and the families in 9/11. Am I understanding that correctly?
Oh yeah. So I was a partner at Cantor Fitzgerald during 9/11. I was one of the senior people in it. Was the Darien, Connecticut office that actually reopen Cantor Fitzgerald.
Maybe we can do a special. Maybe we can talk about your association with that the tragic events and people that you may have lost or people you know of who have lost loved ones. Your involvement with them, things of that. We could do a special this coming September. Maybe that would be an ideal time.
Yes, and also if people really want to get into some deep stuff, I can introduce you to stuff about carbon credits and things of that sort.
Oh my God, what a golden yellow brick road that would be. That would be a really fun topic.
I am.
Give them some knowledge. Tell them your connection to the carbon credits. What you.
I hold the first securities patent ever issued, and the structure that I put together enables people to trade carbon credits. It's cited throughout the world. And some people even have said that the reason 9/11 occurred has to do with that patent, getting a hold of that patent. That patent, some dirty stuff with Cantor Fitzgerald. Howard Letnick's not a good guy. He's laid claim to it and said that I've assigned it to him and stuff. That's not the case.
You own this patent. That is correct.
My patent, yeah.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, it's no wonder why you have a target on your back. There is a political appetite in the state of Connecticut, which seems to be desperately trying to satisfy. People are trying to satisfy that appetite, and they're doing anything, including seizing your property, attempting to seize your property illegally. It looks like, they're trying to. It seems as though, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's plausible to speculate.
It's a theory
in this regard.
We got to stop getting away. The CIA coined the term conspiracy theory.
This is very true.
Theory is a theory. I'm going to throw the ball up and it's going to stay up. That's my theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's my theory. Right. I was wrong. It's a theory. So when you
take like any other hypothesis,
right? And if people want to go on a serious journey, I can take them down stuff with Palantir Technologies, George Soros. I did the major trade, Steve Cohen and Palantir Technologies. We can do all kinds of things. We can get into the big tech stuff, the Grove, the whole. Oh, I've been invited.
Yeah. I think that's what we're going to do. And last comment of the night. Thank you, Andy, for exposing the whole underhanded, egregious scam that is being perpetrated. That is Faith Budner Alad.
Hey, all right, Faith. Yeah. I love her.
We actually had Al in here a while back. Thanks for joining us this evening, Al, if you're still with us. TSS, God bless you and your family. Been a while hearing. I miss each and every one of you. I have a tremendous level of respect and love for my audience, and I can never put in words how grateful I am for the support I have received over the last 18, maybe 24 months. And I'm happy to take the risks and be emotionally taxed and burdened, associated with putting myself out in the public, filming police, and trying to create transparency, accountability, and of course, when appropriate, liability. Which is what brings us Andrew and the many others I've had on the show. We're only going to get better at this. The studio is going to get bigger. The information is going to flow better, more efficiently, faster. I get more and more emails every day from people asking for help and for guidance. And I wish I could get to all of you. If I haven't gotten to you yet, please forgive me. I do have a very big family and a very busy life of my own. I try to do as much as I can for those around me, best I can when I can. I like to try to ease these problems for other people best I can, because I too, like Andrew and many others, have been victimized by our weaponized judicial system, and by our family courts and by police and just our officials overall. So with that,
this is just to speak to the family court. Listen, what I believe here, guys, in terms of my strategy of what's going on, is that foreclosure is very administratively intense. You get the judges with that. It's kind of like getting Al Capone with his taxes. Okay. You get him there.
Good point.
All of a sudden, everything, the foundation comes tumbling down because the gray that's in family court and some of these other courts, they can play. There's no gray. in foreclosure. And these guys are dirty. They're criminals. They
No
are.
wiggle room there.
Yes, they're not judges. They are criminals. And I have no problem saying that. And as a matter of fact, you'll even
Criminals in cloaks. Criminals in cloaks.
On August 15th, I stated on the record that I was arresting Judge Tierney by CGS 54-170, and he didn't even know what to do.
He just ignored it from what I've kind of gathered.
It's on
he
the
just pretended like he didn't even say it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane. And a story for another time for sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Pritchard. You will be in my prayers and I'm sure many others. God bless you and your family for what you're doing. We're going to be behind you every step of the way. We're going to keep the audience up to date with new developments, and we're certainly going to have you on hopefully within the next 72 hours to talk further on a number of other very interesting topics that I think most Americans yearning for a better, smaller, more efficient, and less intrusive government will all take pleasure in viewing. So with that, I bid you farewell. Thank you very much for your time.
God bless.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening. You guys have a wonderful one.
Bye-bye.